Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, July 10th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a couple clarification points. First off, the price you see right there will be moving around and changing. And then also the candlestick you see right there will also be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, RIVN. Once again, this thing continues to just rock and roll. Huge move today. And overall, yes, I realize that as I speak, there has been a pullback here during the afternoon period, but that is just more so a comment towards those people that care about the very near term, because even looking at the same exact day, if you ask yourself, well, what was happening before this downwards movement, you would say, well, there is this huge explosion right here. And I go through all that because in all actuality, that has now given me the ability to draw a bull flag pattern. Now, just because something's bullish does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to continue on upwards. But my point here is that, again, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, the overall chart is still plenty bullish. Now, there is a little bit of perspective. I mean, if you're a day trader and you bought right there at those highs and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well, then yes, from that perspective, the chart's looking pretty bad. But assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, everything is still perfectly fine. And the easiest way to summarize the current movement right now would be that bull flag pattern. Next one, ticker symbol GRRR. That is a lot of R's, but overall, very popular stock today, a whole lot of volume, and now going to next week, a good solid pattern. So let me be very clear. As I draw this pattern out, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that I have great skills or anything like that, because a lot of people are going to be drawing and watching the same exact pattern here. So let me bring that down to that area of support right there. Changes to green to represent support. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So again, are there guarantees? No, but is it plausible to think that the price can work its way back up to the top of the pattern and then get a break up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is definitely a plausible potential outcome. So if you like stocks down below $10, you like bull pennant patterns, I definitely keep an eye on this one for next week. Next one, MULN, has been a monster move over the past couple of days with huge volume. And again, as I mentioned earlier, a little tricky to talk about from a presentation standpoint because it's really all about your perspective and strategy going in. Like I said previously, if you're a day trader, scalper, flipper, whatever you want to call it, and you bought right there, maybe you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 15 minutes. Well, then yes, from that perspective, the chart does look pretty rough because there has been, obviously a very deep pullback from those areas. With all that being said, if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, then you can see that overall the trend is very much so up, and there's plenty of opportunity to still build a higher base. In fact, the price is still above both of the overall longer-term moving averages. That pink line there being the 200 period moving average, and the purple line there being the 50 period moving average. In fact, you can see right there they're about to cross what in the technical world would be called a golden cross, where the 50 period crosses up through the 200 period. So point being that bigger picture point of view, the chart is still perfectly fine, but to acknowledge, I fully realize that if you're a day trader and you bought right there, then I sound crazy saying that this chart is perfectly fine. But once more, that is why I'm trying to emphasize it's a matter of perspective. So yes, depending on where you bought from a day trading standpoint, it could be a total train wreck for you. But assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, price does still have the opportunity to build that higher base. So we'll see if the bulls can get that job done or not next week. Next one, TTOO, did this one yesterday, and you can see right here, got the very nice breakout through that pattern, which I talked about. So had the bull pennant going in, got the breakout through there this morning, and then really an impressive move right there. So once again, got to think that there's probably going to be a lot of eyeballs watching this one headed into next week. So I'll go ahead and get rid of these lines here as they serve their purpose for now. And really kind of a case of deja vu. We have just, once again, another bull pennant pattern that has formed. Top of the pennant right here at, let's call it the 12.5 cent mark. Let me change that to red for resistance. And then as far as the support part is concerned, I'm going to take a little bit different approach to it. Use that previous high because I think this does a good job. And again, change that to green to represent support. So as I've said, is that like some sort of great discovery on my part? It is not. So from a self-fulfilling prophecy standpoint, no guarantees, but is it valid, plausible to think that the price can work its way back up to that area and get the break, that break could create additional buying pressure? Absolutely. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennant patterns, I'd certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, AMC, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have watched the previous video I did, especially from Thursday there, but talked about this green line here behaving as support. You can see there's support, there's support, there's support, and then once again today, you can see late day, once again to give credit where credit's due, that green line has held strong as support once again. So moving forward, you know, this level right there around that $4.22 range, give or take a couple pennies, remains a key level of support, and you're definitely a level that you want to see hold, because, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price does drop below this area, now all of a sudden you have the price basically in kind of this no man's land where the price very well could then head down to $4, if not even lower. Again, not saying that'll happen, just trying to explain why that 4.22 mark is such an important level. But like I said, to give credit where credit's due, it has done a fantastic job of holding strong. If the price does try to bounce at all, two main moving averages to watch as resistance, that purple line there, 50-period moving average. And even if the price does break above there, don't get me wrong, that's certainly a step in the right direction, but not that far up above. You would then have to deal with the 200-period moving average. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done to the upside, but like I said, at least the price continues to hold above 422. Real quick, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then I definitely want you to get signed up for the free live online class. Next one here, LCID, very, very impressive move. And like I talked about on a previous one, I can't remember exactly which one it was. In the very near term, yeah, to give credit where credit's due, the bears did push the price down a little bit right here with the downwards channel. But you have to ask yourself, well, what happened before this downwards channel? Well, you had the big old move upwards like that. So once again, we're looking at a bull flag pattern. So just keep that in mind from the overall standpoint. But again, I realize if you're a day trader and you bought right there, then yes, this pullback here is a nasty, nasty thing. But if you care about the big picture, then all that's done is now created a bull flag pattern. As far as supports, keep an eye on that 50-period moving average right there, which is the purple line. And if this price does pull back, you know, it's still plenty of leeway where, I mean, if you look at things from the bigger picture point of view, I mean, the price could still drop down. You know, it could go down to 680 and still be putting in an overall higher, an overall higher base, as you can see right here. So like I said, I'm not saying it's dropping down to 680. My point is that even if it did, it would still have higher lows than where it was previously. So keep an eye on that. And then from a resistance standpoint, nothing complicated or anything like that. Literally just a question of where did the party stop today? And that was right up there around the 770 mark. So keep an eye on that moving forward. Next one, NKLA. And going back to the whole talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, you got to think that everybody and their brother's uncle has noticed this level right up here at $1.50. So let me change that to red, and you know, has noticed the same dynamic here that yeah, the price has made some moves up, but you can see right there, $1.50 rejected it. Didn't hit it exactly, but close enough. $1.50 rejected it, and then even today, a pretty nasty move, a fake move, and then back down it went. But even before that fake breakout, you can see right there that the price was respecting that $1.50 mark. So as I've said and will continue to say, no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that if the price can curl back up, get to that level, and then break through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That certainly seems like a plausible scenario. Next one here, PWN, which was an absolute monster. Again, PWM, M is in mama, and this thing has absolutely just skyrocketed. And in fact, as I speak right now, look at this last 30 minutes. This thing has exploded up over the $22 mark with a bit of a pullback. So on that note, there's not a whole lot of current setups. If there was anything, then yeah, we've already missed this setup right there. There was that bull pennant, which has been broken, and now but the exciting thing is, sure, that's been broken, but you get to ask the always fun question, is this the start of something even bigger? Now think about that question. You can't ask that question if nothing worthwhile has happened, because then it wouldn't make any sense to say, is this the start of something bigger when nothing's happened? But that's not the case here. So sure, you missed the breakout, but that is something very worthwhile happening, which does prompt, okay, is this move going to keep on ripping and roaring? Now, to be fair, maybe not. Maybe this thing just rolls right back over, but that is a two-sided coin because, well, I mean, maybe it is. Maybe this thing just continues to rock and roll next week and keeps running and running. And that's the whole idea of a watch list, is to find unique, to find interesting situations, not randomly rush out and start buying stuff, but to watch it and see what happens. So yes, no doubt about it, PWM here, huge movement, huge volume, and certainly worth keeping an eye on if you like these volatile movers. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and overall, pulled back today, but within the grand scheme of things, the price is essentially just sitting and hovering right up above this area right here at the 273 mark. And then when you look up at the top part, and change that to red, I would say that this thing has officially just formed a sideways channel, top of the channel being right up around 280, 250. Not those exact to the penny, but just broadly speaking, and, I don't think that's some sort of, bold proclamation on my end. I mean, I think most people would agree that, yeah, over the past couple days, Tesla has just been chopping around sideways and sideways. So from a pattern perspective standpoint, I would just simply call this a sideways pattern, sideways channel pattern, whatever you want to call it. Top of the pattern resistance, 280, 250. Bottom of the channel support down there right around the 270, 250 mark. And really going into next week is just a question of who is ultimately going to win out. Are the bulls going to win out by being able to push the price back to the upside here in breakout, or the bear is going to win out by being able to push the price back to the downside? I think that'll be the main question on most people's minds. Next one here, RIOT, and very, very nice looking chart. And end of the day, right up here at this key level of resistance. So let me get this in a play here, and you can see that the top part of this move was right there at, we'll call it $15.50, and then you look at the last 30 minutes, and you can see that the price literally closed right at that area of resistance, which brings about a very valid question heads in next week. All right, is the price going to be able to push up through and break that level, which could very well be the start of something even bigger? So we circle back to that question, and, kind of nice to know that we could potentially be asking that question in regards to that break right there if it can push up through there. But all in all, just from a pattern standpoint, like I said, we have our resistance. We have a nice little uptrend line right there. We have the big move here. For you golfers, make it a little bit more visual, put the golf ball down here. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. And these, crypto stocks, especially RIOT, have been very, very active over the past week or so. And it definitely closed the week in a big way, even including the last 30 minutes right there. Good, solid volume. So we'll see if this momentum carries into next week. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise, so which makes it a very popular ETF out there. And what a crazy, crazy afternoon. I mean, things were, for basically the majority of the day, looking very solid, just grinding. And then, like I said, this afternoon, just straight down, including the last 30 minutes. I mean, the last 30 minutes, brutal move right there. So much so that it actually even dropped down below that pink line there, the 200 period moving average, which, the question becomes, is this leading indicator that this is now going to be, a bigger move to the downside? And it very well could be. In fact, I don't think anybody would be shocked to see the price now going back down to that green line, which I talked about previously, around 39.35, to retest that as an area of support. So like I said, had the price bounce off of that pink line like it did previously, both there and there, then a little bit of a different thought process, at least for me. But because the price actually closed down below that pink line when the previous two times it bounced from it, again, does that guarantee that it's going down to that green line? Of course not, but I don't think anybody would be shocked at that point. So I think the big question heading into next week is, if the price does go down to 39.35, is it going to create a bounce like it did back here? Or is the price going to just continue to drop further and further? So grab your popcorn for early next week. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to get signed up for that class, then definitely do so. It'll be next week, Thursday, July 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So like I said, definitely go and get signed up for that free class. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you'd like for me to continue to do these videos, then please do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below. Those two things help out the channel, communicate to me that you enjoy, and as long as I know that people are enjoying, then I'll continue to put in the time and effort to get this content out to you. So go ahead, get signed up for that free class, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and everybody have a great weekend.